The other day, my wife said something to me that sent a shiver right down my spine. Said, come take a look at what I found online. I want to see if you can build it. Here we go. But I'll tell you, what she did find was kind of neat. It was a wooden dog looking lamp. So I took a few pictures of it, and I think I have an idea how I'm going to do it. So if you want to stick around, I'll show you what I came up with. I have some pieces of walnut here that are cut to I got shorter chunks, and I've already gone ahead and resawed these with the Buddy's bandsaw. Next thing we got to do is get them all to the same thickness, and we're going to use the thickness planer for that. All my pieces are milled up here and ready to go. Got them to 1/4 of an inch. And what we're going to do is start with the head of the dog. And the reason we're doing that is because it's going to be the most complicated part, because we're going to do what's called a miter taper joint box. You get the idea. So not only is it tapered on all 4 sides, but the corners are all mitered. So in order to do this, we need to use a jig. Place a piece of wood in there. Put it through the saw. That's going to cut our one taper, and then come around with the second one. Flip the board around. Put it in. This will fit. And then cut the other side of the taper. First thing we got to do is cut our pieces to rough length, and then mark the center points and our max and minimum width. And we'll get going with that right now. I have a stop block here set up at 4 inches. So we're going to go ahead and cut our 4 sides. I have my cuts laid out here on this piece of walnut. It's probably pretty hard to see, so I've gone ahead and drawn them on a sheet of paper. So we have the outline of the piece, and what you do is you find the center. Step number 1, make a mark at your center point. Next thing you want to do is, my top piece is going to be 4 inches, so I measured from that center point over 2 inches on either side. Same thing with the bottom. I put the ruler on the center point. This one's 3, so I moved over 1.5 inches on both sides. Let's go over to the jig I made, and we'll show you how that's done. So for a jig here, I have this piece of plywood that I've gone and ripped a 45-degree miter all the way down. This block is already here from my test piece, so it's going to work out good for me. And all you want to do is line up one of the edges for your marks on this back side, and then you want to line up the other edge along this front side here, so that's right up against the side of our board. And once you have that, you can go ahead and just hot glue. I know hot glue, there's a time and a place though. Just a couple spacer blocks, top, bottom. I'm going to throw one on the back here. So now what we'll be able to do is take each one of our pieces, put it in this jig, take it to the table saw, rip it, and that'll give us our one side. And once that's all done, we'll have to go ahead and make a second one to do the other side. First cuts are made now. We can't use the same setup because our lines aren't going to line up and the cuts are just going to be off. So we have to reset. We've got another piece that's been ripped at 45, and we just have to do the same thing we did the first time and line up our marks against the bevel. Well, it's probably hard for you to see. And then just re-glue some new stop blocks. That looks bang on. Double check. Everything looks pretty good. So we'll go back to the saw and make our last 4 cuts. All right, moment of truth. Okay, that turned out not so bad. Now we're gonna have to do a little rabbet on the bottom to receive a back, and then we're gonna do plexiglass on the front. So we're gonna cut a groove or a dado, sorry, right in here. Yeah, really happy with how that turned out. So because of that bevel, I can't just use these straight cuts because the board's not gonna fit. So I'm gonna have to go to the table saw. I measured it, it's 82 degrees. We'll tilt the blade out and cut a relief so that our piece can fit in there. At least I'm hoping this is gonna work. Trying to rack my brain around it. Let's see. Close enough. Okay, that worked out great. All you have to do is bevel the top and the bottom, and that allows that panel to sit in there. So leave the 2 sides alone, just do the top and the bottom, and she fits in there like a glove. So we're gonna do this out of acrylic. I just want to do a test piece out of plywood, and I'm going to, what do you call it, frost it. I'm gonna try to frost it so that you can't see the LEDs on the inside. So we'll do that next. Never do a cross cut with your miter gauge and the fence, but if you're making a square, if you rip it, put your board up against that fence, move it out of the way, now you get a perfect square. We're gonna put the head on hold for now. It's all finished up, just waiting for a few more details. And shift and make the body now. Artist, I am not, obviously. Geez, I can't draw with the lick. But I got kind of the shape I want finally kind of figured out. So I'll cut 2 blanks of walnut and cut these 2 out at the same time. After a little bit of sanding, this is what we ended up with. I'm not sure I'm overly happy with it. I mean, there's no plans. It's kind of more of an art project at this time, and art's not my thing, but we're gonna roll with it. Make some legs, a little tail, and then we'll talk about assembly. And with that, all the parts are done. I've got the 2 sets of legs, tail, neck, and off camera I just made these 2 little brackets that are gonna attach under the head here. What I have to do is drill 1/4-inch holes for the bolts that we're gonna use to attach all this together, give this a sanding, and then out to finish. I'm just gonna eyeball where I want these legs to go here. That looks pretty good. And I think that's fine right there. I have my 2 brackets clamped just with this bolt onto the neck piece, and I'm gonna glue it to the back of the head, or to the bottom of the head, underneath, where the neck goes. This weld bond dries clear, so I'm gonna use that. There we go, just let that dry. I'm gonna give these a coat of finish before I glue this up, because getting to the inside of this box once it's glued up is gonna be almost impossible. So I got the miters taped up. We don't want any finish where there's gonna be some glue. So let's get to it. Just got my little drying rack here. Let's see if we can do this. Probably not. There she goes. All the pieces are hanging out. It's ready to dry. We'll give it a second coat and then start putting this thing together. Make sure we don't forget our piece of acrylic. There we go. I'll just let that dry. All right, let's test her out. Boy, I really hope this battery's dead. Helps if you double check which side's positive. Round two. There we go. I went and stuck the LEDs in there. Kind of hard to film me doing that, but there she is. Just realized I can't have the wires on this to put it in, so I have to take it off. It's no big deal. All right, let's put this hound together. Shouldn't be that hard to do. Doesn't go on yet. Well, there's the pup lamp. So you can make, you can have him sit down if you want, wag his tail, and the LEDs turn on. Well, I'll have to do something about those wires there, but that's fine. Although, I forgot the ears. Shoot. Be right back. There we go. That looks a little more dog-like. Fun little build. Hope you guys enjoyed. Even got those wires out of the way there. No, turned out real nice. Happy with it. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you at the next one. Get your ears back up here.